What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Toon Tickles, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Takara Masterpiece Red Alert Cartoon Deco Lambor mold. Shout out to Dust for the Toon Tickles. I thought he would get a kick out of that. So I was debating on whether or not to review this because this mold is so old and you know it's kind of everybody knows what's going on with it. But then I was like, I haven't done this mold yet, so I might as well. It comes with these two accessories and one other one we'll talk about later. It has a finished paint on it, so that's nice. And then this articulates for the shoulder. It has the gray paint finish on there and the red. We'll talk more about the paint finish when we get to robot mode. And then the car rolls fine. I will say, like, I don't remember all these panels lines being so. I thought in my mind's eye, it's been years, right? But in my mind's eye. The problem, not problem per se, but one of the things about this mold was it always was a little tighter than you would have liked it to be. But I don't know. Maybe I'm out of my mind. Now this is the Tiger Tracks mold. This is the KO Tiger Tracks. To be fair, the only KO in my collection, and it stays in a bucket. But that's me, and I don't know. This one has those gaps and stuff too, and this was furthermore. There's been so many releases of this mold, right? Like there was the Lambor, and then the Red Alert, and then the G2 Side Swipe, and Tiger Tracks, and Lord knows what else. But you know, it's cool. It is a nice gray on it, I must admit. It looks good. Now it's been a while since I've transformed this bad boy, so you'll have to forgive me. So we're gonna try it. I remember you flip these. We'll start there. At least you used to be able to. There you go. That didn't want to go. Let's see, the arms had to come out next, I think. There's like a little tab. There it is. It's right there that you got to free up. Get that out of the way. Same on that side. Out of the way. You can split the spoiler, so to speak, and then you had to free up the legs, which are partially, but it's the feet mainly that are partially underneath the hood. So just free that off the best you can. And I think it scratched a little bit of the paint in the process, so be careful when you get yours. And then bring these down. Now, there's a lot to go on here, and I'm trying to keep track of it all. Open these up. Let's see. And I think this. Maybe, oh yeah, these spun around to the back. That's right. This comes up. I think I mean, it's not this smooth. Oh, you know what? I forgot a piece. And I think I forgot this when I first got it as well. This little piece flips out, and that covers, you know, most of the hollowness. Not all of it, but most of it. Flip that out. That comes around to the back. This comes around to the back. And I believe that that's 1 foot done. This kind of sits in there like that. We'll do it a little bit smoother on this side since I kind of remember what's going on, I think. I say that and then I'll mess it up again. Flip this piece around to the back. This comes down. This bumper piece flips up. Oh, this piece here also flips up. So 180 there. This piece flips up. Open the inside of that gray plastic piece and flip that down and peg that in. And then that flips up. The foot flips up, the heel spur flips back, and that flips around to the back, and that's the legs. And then this piece flips down. Not a bad start so far. Next, we have to split this and bring this down, bring the top part with it, rock this assembly back, and then this clips in to that there. And that still holds really well. I was concerned about that, but that still holds really well. So then we can straighten these arms out here. They're on double hinges, I believe. We'll talk about it more. And it came unclipped. I just said it clips really well, and then it came unclipped. Makes me look like an idiot. Bring these arms around. And this one, we can go ahead and get this hand out since I got the cover undone during transformation. Same on this side. And then you gotta rotate the rear of this window in, and this should kind of end up looking like bat wings, I think. So maybe it's flip all the way around, yeah, like that. The same on this side, and then this comes down to the back, and we'll clip them. So let's talk about him a bit. His shoulder cannon does fit into the position, and it goes into both. And I tell you, I gotta be honest, I'm having a hard time getting him to hold his gun properly. You can see where it's digging out the plastic there in the hand. That may be, you know, that this is the... I don't know. Just pointing it out. That's a potential issue. At least it is for me. And then he comes with his, like, going crazy things. And they're orange translucent, and they plug in there, and I think they're good enough. So, I mean, it's the same mold, so we'll fly through it. The one thing that is worth noting is my paint is muddied up inside the face, especially on... Hold on. This eye there. His left eye. You see like that little bit of... I can probably dig that out, but it's just a little lack of professionalism that I don't want to see. The head is on the same hinge swivel, so you get just still the same limited up, but the swivel is intact and he gets a good bit down. I mean, limited down, but I think it works for the mold, I guess. Waist swivel. We can back out a little bit now, I think. The paint is flawless. It's fantastic, and I'm glad to see that because with Takara Masterpiece changing factories recently, the paint was one of the things that did seem a little less than, but this makes me feel better about their upcoming releases because the paint is pretty flawless here. So it's got the faux tires again on the arms. The arms are on this weird assembly here where it doesn't quite plug in properly, and this joint is a little tight, so he often wants to come along with his buddy, but a little bit of finagling and you should be fine. And it's on a universal joint here, so you get the swivel all the way around and then the hinge to an outstanding degree. So that's cool. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow or single joint? Maybe, no, I think it's a single jointed elbow. It's funny. Things you forget. A little bit past 90 degrees, so it's still fine. Swivel at the wrist, and then the fingers on the base pin knuckle. It's the double joint. The one joint goes backwards because you can't spin the other ones, right? Yeah. So other one is the same, and that's fine. The chief paint looks good on the arm. Waist swivel, which we talked about, and universal joints for hips. They get you out to there. You can maneuver that and get all the way to there, but you destroy the sculpt. With the sculpt, you only get to there and back to there. Out to the side, full split, no problem. Thigh swivel's built into the bottom of the universal. This is all has that finished paint on it now, so that's nice. And then a single jointed knee, but it gets you at least 90 degrees, if not a bit past. And then ankle rocker is limited per usual, and tilt is pretty much just a toe tilt down and a little bit up for the ankle. So, you know, it's fine. You know, it's not that it's bad, right? It's just that it's a new purchase, but it doesn't have that excitement because it's not only is it a repaint of a mold you're familiar with, but it's a repaint of a character, the same character of the mold that you're familiar with, which gives you a little bit of this experience. Got myself a new toy, gonna feel so good on my shelf. Got myself a new toy, gonna feel so good on my shelf. I don't feel good about this. I just feel empty and kind of like I've been taken advantage of. So there he is with the original Red Alert Masterpiece and the G1 Red Alert, which is a reissue, but don't mind that. You know, I gotta say, he does look pretty good. Like, you don't realize how off this one was from the cartoon until you see this one. And for some people that may not be a big deal, and I totally get that. But there are some differences which we're getting ready to get into in a second, but it does look pretty good. The differences mainly are paint application. This one has painted thighs, this one does not. This one has the paint here, this one does not. This one has some paint down in there, this one does not. So I think it was a bit of a trade-off as to what they painted and what they didn't paint. But ultimately, I think I prefer the decisions made on this newer one than the older one, just in terms of where they decided to paint. Yeah, I gotta admit, it looks pretty good. Final thoughts wise, the only negatives really are the fact that the mold is showing some age, not in its reuse sense, but in just how we've progressed, you know, as a fandom, and progressed as consumers, and progressed as collectors, where this was great for its time, and it's still fine. You know what I mean? It's still fine, but it doesn't blow you away. And I'm sure it doesn't blow you away partially because you're familiar with the mold, partially because you're already used to having the character on your shelf, but also because, you know, there's some things here that probably wouldn't be done that way today. Some of them for better, some of them for worse. I kind of like the different imagination of some of it, that it doesn't look so slavishly cartoon. But in the same way, like, I kind of feel like in the modern day you wouldn't have the shoulders that didn't quite plug in properly, little stuff like that. You know, it's just that everything has progressed. You know, like between third party and official having to constantly compete with one another, constantly improve their product, constantly set the standard a bit higher, we've now become accustomed to a higher grade product than this was 3 years ago. But I'm still content with my purchase. If you are a slave to the cartoon, like I am, if you want the best representation of him for your shelf, like I do, in regards to the cartoon, I have to say I recommend him. I begrudgingly recommend him, because it sucks that you have to buy the character again in a different paint job. That's a real slimy tactic. I don't like it when third parties do it, and I certainly don't like it when officials do it. But I hear the argument, well, what if I want the G1 cartoon, I mean the G1 toy colors? I hear you, but maybe they should have done them both in the beginning and let people have the option. But no, they want to get all that money up front and then all that money on the back end, and I get it. Do you know what I mean? I get it, but it doesn't sit well with me personally. But there's no reason other than that, other than if you want to take some sort of moral high ground on it, which us as collectors, do we really have a moral high ground? Not usually. So other than that, I can't think of any reason not to recommend this. The mold is still holding up well. All the joints are pretty tight, some maybe even too tight, but most of them move smoothly, and the paint finish is outstanding. So I had to go ahead and give this a recommend. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.